Good afternoon, and thank you for attending. Today I plan to give you a bird's eye view of a plan to move towards a more environmentally friendly Pakistan. Air matters. The pollution problem in Pakistan has led to an overwhelming surge in health concerns, to include but not limited to respiratory illness, cardiovascular diseases, and cancers. The at-risk or vulnerable population that includes children, the elderly, and low-income communities are particularly at a heightened risk. I grew up with respiratory concerns. I couldn't imagine having to live in a place where school is closed due to heavy smog. We couldn't even get snow days in the Motor City. The chronic illness that's caused by pollution leads to increase in absenteeism, which in turn leads to decreased productivity in the workplace. This decrease in productivity is exacerbated by cognitive impairment that people experience caused by pollution. The health concerns combined with the negative effect of pollution has on the environment and the natural resource of Pakistan lead to a reduced revenue from agriculture and even affects tourism. That makes sense. When I vacation, I tend to think I'm going to recharge, lay on the beach, maybe taking some sun. But how much sunbathing can you do in a small covered beach? Doing business in a foreign country can have its share of legal challenges and hurdles. But through a strategic partnership inclusive of Penske Automotive, Black Legacy Holdings LLC, and the Pakistani government, we plan to start a program that promotes education, production, and use of clean energy, particularly in the market of electric vehicles. While this is an ambitious and noble undertaking, it is not without its challenges. The challenges will include navigating Pakistan's complex and ever-changing regulatory landscape, as well as deciphering Pakistan's complex tax code in order to remain compliant. We will have to work with local leadership to ensure that we adhere to local labor laws, and even after all this, we still have to mitigate corruption and security concerns. All of these are daunting issues, but none of them are unsurmountable. There's always going to be a concern of acceptance when starting a new business in a foreign country. The way that this partnership and project is received will be determined by numerous factors. The Pakistani culture leans on relationships heavily in the corporate world, and the Pakistan-United States relationship has been a bit of a roller coaster with its ups and downs. I believe that if we build and foster relationships within the communities that we'll be operating, and focuses on being sensitive to the culture at large, highlighting the positive and financial and environmental impacts of the project, and we make complete transparency in our actions, we will be well received. While taking on a project to clean up the environment is a noble cause, and no one wants to lose money. With that being said, the Pakistani government has pledged a strong commitment to the development of a clean energy program, and through a strategic partnership like the one proposed between Penske Automotive, Black Legacy Holdings LLC, and the Pakistani government, we can address the concerns of infrastructure and policy ambiguity, creating an environment for the long-term success of an EV program, in turn leaving a positive long-term effect on the environment and boosting the local economy through the growth of a local EV market. Working in a foreign country can be a bit intimidating. Employees working in Pakistan will have to navigate a myriad of cultural differences in the workplace, to include understanding that the Pakistani workplace tends to be laid out in a hierarchical format with a strong emphasis on seniority and authority. It also utilizes an approach that focuses on centralized decision making as opposed to one individual having the final say. In addition, while the U.S. tends to look for punctuality, the Pakistani culture has a more lax and flexible view of time, and a U.S. employee shouldn't get offended if someone shows up a little bit late, as family and social obligations can sometimes take precedence over strict adherence to schedules. Additionally, gender dynamics influence workplace interaction, and U.S. employees should be mindful of the cultural sensitivities regarding gender. Being an American employee working in a foreign country will probably put you in a bit of a culture shock. U.S. employees working in Pakistan should expect to be prepared for cultural differences like indirect versus direct communications. While we in the U.S. are accustomed to direct communication, the Pakistani culture style of communication is more indirect. You should also be aware of language barriers. While English is spoken in most business settings, it is not prevalent in the community. You should also take note of the difference in nonverbal cues. A head nod can mean one thing to us, but something totally different to a Pakistani. Adjusting to social norms like religion, appropriate dress, and gender dynamics will also be key. Lastly, depending on where you live or where you work in the country, security can be of a concern. In order to be successful in this endeavor, we will need to develop a comprehensive plan for success to include building local relationships, cultural training and coaching, language classes, brand awareness, an incentive program, developing a robust infrastructure, maintenance, and after-sales support. Thank you all for your attention. I now open the floor for any questions or discussions.